Sensuous Maximus. I am the owner, founder of Builders Brewery, along with my ex-partner, Supremius Maximus. And as you see my name, I was going to change it again. When we joined, first of all, I'd never heard of Second Life. I didn't know what it was. And I was dragged over to this window by my friend, and he had come up with a very funny name, Supremius Maximus. I laughed, and I thought, well, I guess that means I'm supposed to be Sensuous Maximus or something. I was joking, totally joking, and I'm trying to come up with some other name. And he says, no, use that one. No one will know you. It's okay. You can change it later. So, yeah. So I did, just in jest, total jest, to appease him, and here I am. It'll be 10 years this year that I've been in Second Life, and I'm still stuck with this name. I had no idea what SL was or was about, and then when I later on found out what other activities and things people do, my whole world has always been around creativity since day one in Second Life. When I saw that you could actually create things in this world, that is when I was hooked. And I kind of buried myself in learning how to build and do things from that moment on. And I was probably considered kind of a nerd for a lot of people, because they'd say, oh, come on, let's go explore, go to the clubs. I don't think I've ever really been to a club in SL. I mean, quote, go out to a club and dance or anything like that. I've never done that in SL. Kind of a nerd, I guess. My whole world has been the school for the past, 9 years, going on 9 years for the school. So it's been focused around that. So my name doesn't exactly fit within the academia world. It fits within Second Life. That's all I could say. It's embarrassing, and I have held back from telling my parents or anybody else what I do, just because this name is so embarrassing. But they had changed the last name Maximus right after I got this name, and my then partner wanted me to keep the last name. So, well, I never went back and changed it. Yay, incoming. More people are coming in. They're landing on top of us. Hi, everyone. Are you all rezzed in? Sounds on. Yeah, Studio. Hey, that's a good one, Merlin. Studio Maximus. Oh, I really like that one. But I go by Sen. Please call me Sen, all right? And, okay. Yan, I would like for you, if you want to chime in with anything that you might want to say. But I know I need to get on with this. I've shortened this up quite a bit because I want to whiz through this. And then we're going to have the session immediately following, the tips and tricks. And that will be a lot of fun. So, yeah, if you have the extra time, stick around for that, and we'll add more into that, more detail discussion. I'll let Yen introduce herself, but she's my wing person today, helping me out. But I actually would like to have her. Eventually, I'd like to have her translate the street smarts that I have learned through the years of teaching within a virtual world. Translate that into her academia speak. It's like a whole other language to me because I don't do this in real life. So, yeah, this is how I have learned, is just through hard knocks and street smarts, I guess, if you will. Most of it has been, all this information I'm sharing today has been through observation and learning from our many teachers that we have at the brewery over the years. They are the reason why we are who we are. Can't do it without them. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I'll stop along the way and ask if there's any questions. For some certain details and links, I'll provide that stuff at the end, and also at the session afterward. So, okay? Okay. Okay, we'll get started here. I already talked about, I'm not going to elaborate too much today, so just to keep it quick, just realize, that you can write down your questions for me. I don't mind having any questions sent to me in IM or a note card, and I'll try to address those along the way or afterward in that session that we'll have after this, okay? Blue here is going to be helping me today as well, so if you have any questions for her, being the professional that she is in virtual education, I'm sure she wouldn't mind helping and answering any questions that you have as well, because she's really, she's got more of in touch with the academia world than I would, so we'll go with that. So virtual settings is different. You cannot come into Second Life and think that you're going to take on the teaching profession, if you will, the same way that you would attack that in real life. And I think a lot of us are learning this. A lot of you who are teachers and instructors, presenters, you found that out, that it's a little bit more to it than you realize, because it's not just presenting a lesson to your students. You've got to learn the whole immersiveness of it, and doing your lessons a little bit differently. Things like when you present things, you got to realize that you're dealing with a virtual, a multicultural environment. You have people here who are from all walks of life, different abilities, and different languages, cultures. So keep that in mind with everything that you do. We all try to speak with our own little slang language, and because we want to be comfortable and we want to be liked. And boy, tell me, I'm a California girl. We have our own language here. I want to throw in my slang everywhere, and I'm a professional word maker upper. I tend to make up words as I go just because it's more fun. So I have to try to avoid those things when I do get out in front of people like this in this type of environment. So keep that in mind when you're talking and when you're writing your lesson. Go to your thesaurus if you can't find the right words. But try to avoid any slang, try to avoid any flowery talk, things like that. It is a delicate balance between having fun chat, because you have to have your happy voice, and how do you translate a happy voice into text if you're only teaching in text? It's because you want your personality to come out, and unfortunately text is very dry. So if you do text only, just keep that in mind. If you are not sure about the right words, again, what I was just saying is go to the thesaurus or something. Have other people read it back to you. One of the things I highly, highly recommend that you do, that when you do put your lessons together and you're posting, keep them brief in smaller paragraphs. You see this paragraph I just put here? That should be about the longest that you should have in one post. And here's why. It's just because you have people with visual impairments sometimes, or sometimes not. Sometimes it's just too much all on a screen. for them to take in and comprehend. There's people that are having to kind of translate it. So you want to keep it simple to short sentences, short paragraphs. So you'll learn how to take, as much as you have all this information that you want to disseminate, you really need to take and look at it and see, how can I break that down? Yeah, proofread. But how can I break that down into being better, shorter sentences and not so wordy? Because one thing I found out from, professors in my college days is they like to get very wordy. And they're good at it. That's okay. That's okay for the real world. But in SL or a virtual world, you're going to run into people dropping off. It's hard for them to read big bunches of text. So free up your paragraphs and break them down. Yeah, it does. It scrolls by too quickly. And that's something a lot of people don't realize, that it really is a good idea, anyway, at least to learn that discipline, to cut our words down. So tools of the trade, what you see in front of you here is one of them. And I love this particular board that I'm using. There's lots of different boards. Well, one, I'm using the green text reader that is actually built into this board. The green text reader, or also known as speakeasies, those are definitely a must. I can't stress it enough, because as you look in your local chat right now, you probably see so-and-so just entered draw distance, your friend just logged in, all these different people are commenting and so on. And your text will be lost. If you're sitting there and typing in only white text, it's going to be lost. So I can't stress it enough. Get yourself a note card reader, and I'll be glad to give you one after. But yeah, this particular tool here is from Black Tulip. R&Beyond made this many years ago, and I still have this is the original first one. I don't know if she's updated it since, but she taught for us for many years, and she's just a wonderful teacher. But she put a lot of work into this, and it has wonderful gizmos. It can res things out as my note card reads, and it puts out the text. Oh, it's wonderful. And there's some more out there now, I'm sure. So check those out. But there's the free versions as well, and those do just fine, the freebie versions. They just pretty much just do the slides, and some will do the text. So as you can see, it resed. I have a little, let me see if I can res this here. But I have a little tool here. I'm going to res on the table in front of me. This is something that is, I stress highly, is to get yourself used to having a little cacher to cache your images ahead of time, so that people are caching the images as they're walking in and resing. Now, what's in front of me is not something I would normally put out. Let me show you what it would look like in the class. And this is a simple little thing. I just resed a cube. I did a hollow, okay, and do a path cut just to get that corner. And this is going to give you multiple surfaces. This is just one little easy, quickie way of doing it. There's other ways as well. But this is one you can do yourselves real quick. But you just put a texture that from your presentation on each one of the slides. So on each side is a new texture. So let me show you what I do with that, and I'll do this real quick. I'm just going to bring it down to like a 90% transparency. You barely see it. And then I would shrink it down. So like that is like an 80%, and then you shrink it down. And you can set that out underneath your chair, or, wherever in the bushes, who knows. But people will automatically be caching those images as they enter into the area. Okay, so make sure that you get yourself set up with caching your images prior. Okay, I know it looks kind of archaic, but that's just the quickie, cheapy way that us teachers have learned. People have made nice mesh ones with multiple sides, but this one's easy. And other presenters will have, the cache built into it, where it actually will load the slides up on the sides of the board, and that makes it kind of nice. You can take a copy of that prim if you want. I think I set it for anybody can copy, so if you don't know how to make a prim like that, let me see here. Yeah. Copy. There. Okay, and move on. Oh, the slide presenter, by the way, just so you know that you are going to have to get yourself used to some of the tools way ahead of time. This one in particular, it has a lot to it, but oh my gosh, once you get it down, it is so much fun. You'll be able to go and make dinner while the thing's doing the presentation for you. Just saying. The screen share tools, another thing that I highly recommend using if you have a program or something you need to show. Definitely use tools like TeamViewer to share your screen. Wonderful tool. You'll only be allowed up to 24 students though on the TeamViewer for the free version. It's for personal use. But I know, some people who use it, of course, in SL for teaching classes, but I guess that's a nonprofit thing. They're not profiting off of it. But you're going to have up to 24 maximum, and that's the free version. You can purchase the premium and have more. Another program I truly, absolutely love, of course, is Adobe Connect. Oh my gosh, that is the most amazing screen share I've ever experienced. If you are involved with a larger corporation or university that can afford it, I say go for it. They store all your classes and videos you do are all stored on a server, and people can download them later. Yeah, it's wonderful. It's from Adobe. WebEx is good. I haven't used it, but I've heard there was somebody I was talking to that has used it. You've got GoToMeeting as well. There's so many out there, so it's really up to you. But golly, I was so impressed with the Adobe Connect. I'm just drooling over it. One of our teachers uses it at the school that he teaches at in real life, and he used it on one of our classes that he was teaching at the brewery. And, oh, it's so yummy but so expensive. Yeah, I think the cheapest was like $50 a month. But, when you're doing it professionally, that's nothing. So, yeah, they're wonderful because you can see the people, all there present. You can talk to them on voice or in chat behind. Okay, any questions on that? Okay. I went behind on myself. Yeah, so like I was saying earlier, suggest that they can take pictures of the slides if you don't mind if they do that. If they can take notes. I always recommend that students take notes instead of always depending on the teacher providing the notes, and here's why. If you go to a real-life class in college, that teacher's not necessarily going to hand you out everything. He's going to expect you to take notes, right? It gives you that, a little bit more hands-on and that self-responsibility. So while I do believe in providing them, because we have people with visual impairments or other disabilities, I do recommend, if you just stress that to your students, to try to take notes on their own, but they're free to take screenshots if they want. I would also state, if you have any copyright license on anything, you need to let them know not to share with other people, because that gets done a lot. You have somebody, that later on says, I couldn't make it to the class. Does anybody have those notes? Could you share them with me? that's totally up to the teacher. We don't allow it at the brewery for, people to just toss those around and share them. They have to go to the teacher and get them directly, getting their permission. Because that's something that teachers, I think, put a lot of heart and soul into. They work really hard on materials. I believe in open source for a lot of education, yes. But when it comes to certain written materials and pictures, then you start getting into that whole, you just want to make sure